Waida Forman, you're from Mauritius, so tell us a little bit about first thing says, where is Mauritius?
Right, Mauritius is a very tiny island, size of Essex, in the middle of Indian Oceans. It's off South Africa, near Madagascar.
So some people have gone on holiday there. But,
oh yes.
When you talk about tiny, any idea what the population is roughly?
It's 1.6 million.
That's quite big, really,
yeah,
isn't
it is.
It's quite
you know, when people say, do you know someone so and so from Mauritius? No, I don't, because it's 1.6 million people, so I can't know everyone.
So, what's the name of the town, the village, the city you were
come
born?
from the city. The capital city is Port Louis, and I actually come from an area where there was, you know, in Mauritius we have different nationality, because of the slavery and the coolies and things like that. So we have African, Indian, Asian, Chinese and white. But where I was born in the African area, and that was in '66, that's how old I am. And I was the youngest last child of family. My mum I was the seventh child, one died, but so we are 6 in total survived. But I was born in the African area, but then in 67, when there was we were getting our independence from the Queen, there was a racial war between the Creole, the African, and the Muslims because of election. Because it was a Hindu man standing, so the Muslim would have voted for the Hindu, but the Creole men who want to stand needed the Muslim to be out of the way so that they can get in, etc., etc. So I was part of that war, so we lost everything.
What do you mean by lost everything?
Our home, our paperwork, everything. My mum was so nice to people. She used to help out the kids and the family. So at night, because a lot of Muslims were being killed, but at night, because of my mum, her kindness, all the Creole came out and formed a line to let us out without being harmed. So they protected us out. So all we came out with was the clothes we were wearing.
So you say we came out with, so you had to move?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Move to where?
To a refuge somewhere. And I remember, I don't remember, my mum told me, said, then the British Army came and sorted it out. So we stayed in a refuge place for a while, and then we got a council house offered in Port Louis. And but the funny thing was, my dad only earned 45 rupees a month, and that's Mauritian rupees, but the house was 55 rupees a month. So he lied and said he earned more so we could get home. Yeah.
So that life, now you're in this where you're living now, was it a happy, apart from the Civil War and being made homeless, I was about to ask, was it a happy time as a family?
Yes, yeah. We didn't have anything, and much, we didn't. And my dad worked really hard, and my mum, so we didn't have much, but the love we had was great. And we had, one of my big brother came to England after the war, so he's a nurse, he still lives in England, in Brentwood. But me and my other sisters and my brother, we all live happy. And I remember we didn't have television, we didn't have anything, or fridge. My dad had to work overtime to buy a fridge, you know. So but although we didn't have television, my dad used to tell us stories at night after dinner, and we all sit down, and he used to tell us loads of like amazing stories, like fairies, Walt Disney, if you know what I mean, but different. And I wish I wrote them down, because I can't remember all of them, but that's what we used to do, our entertainment.
So tell us about school.
Right, school, I went to the worst school in the area, because it was just down the road, just like about 2 minutes walk. And I went there, but at the age of 11, I had to do scholarship exam before we get to college. I actually won a scholarship. I used to be first in school all the time, and I used to teach the other guys, so I didn't get bullied, so I used to help the others with their homework. And so I won a scholarship, and my mum was so proud. I actually went to the Loreto Convent in Port Louis, which is a Catholic convent, and people like me don't get in. never did, but I did, and I was the first one in the family to actually have more education, you know, and keep going. So I did up to A level, but I didn't finish my A level because as I'm the youngest, my parents are old. So my dad retired when I was doing my A level, so we couldn't afford it. So I left and went to work to help the family.
Just going back to the school for a second, what subjects did you flourish in or enjoy the most?
Oh gosh, I did, we did English obviously, English, French, maths, that we have to do. I always liked to do science, but I was terrible in physics. So I couldn't choose science, so I had to do accounts and economics and things like that. I don't think it was anything that I love, but it was something I had to do to achieve a better life. It was nothing to do, oh, I love to do this because I want to be a politician or whatever. It wasn't about that. It was about being well educated, because my mum was never educated. She was 7 when she went into service because her dad died. So she always used to say to me, without education you're nothing. So she pushed me to study. So for me it was about having that education to get a good job so I can help my family, and that's what it was about.
So, sorry to interrupt, into work, what were your first jobs?
I worked in a shop. A neighbour who had a video shop, they used to rent VHS, and the day before I was leaving school he met with my dad, and my dad told him, he says, oh, get to come over tomorrow, and he just offered me a job and I started to work. So I worked, but then in the early hours in the morning I used to get up and then go and learn shorthand and typewriting before I go to work. So I did that because I needed that to get a better job. So that's what I did, and I worked there for a few years because it was very hard to get a job. I wanted to be a nurse or a teacher, couldn't get in, for the love, couldn't get it because it was so corrupt. They wanted bribery, and I've always been against corruption. I would never ever bribe anyone or take any bribe. So I couldn't get anywhere, couldn't. So I moved from the shop and I got a job in a factory to work as a quality controller. Did jobs so that I can earn money for my family. You know, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was money because we didn't have like a cooker. You know, we didn't have that. We didn't have a washing machine, didn't exist. I used to wash by hand every day for my mum before I go to work. You know, and then she put the clothes up.
Sometimes you describe that life to other, maybe younger people, and it sounds like a story from the 19th century.
That's right, but it's not. Yeah, it was in the 70s, you know, and the 80s, because I came here in 91. So, but I tell you what, Michael, it wasn't something that it was like a chore. It wasn't like, oh my God, you know, why can't I have this? It wasn't. It was just life. I used to cook in wood fire, you know, but that was life. It wasn't something that I would say, oh, look at me, poor me. It wasn't. It was just the way life was.
Do you cook anything these days that is it Mauritanian? Is it
Mauritian.
From Mauritian? Is there anything are there any specialities?
Right, yeah, we have different things because of different nationality. So we have like the Creole does rougaille. Rougaille is like a tomato thing. Muslim does biryani. Indian people do curry, and you know they tend to be vegetarian, most of the Hindus. Chinese, we have Chinese people, so they do Chinese, and we have the white people, so they do like white food, French food.
And how many languages do you speak?
Oh, I speak Creole, that's our Mauritian language, English, French, Urdu and Hindi. And then before I came here, for 2 years I was learning Russian because the Russian embassy was giving Russian lessons for free. So I thought, it's free, I'm going to have it. But then I didn't finish it, so yeah. And
did it form, because although this is about your life in Mauritius, you've been very politically active in this country, but does your political beliefs and your standing up for yourself formed in Mauritius?
Yes, my dad was very political. He used to work for the Ministry of Health, so a lot of the doctors were ministers. So he used to work for them, and they were Labour. And but I wasn't Labour then. I was more of we had like a party called Mouvement Militant Mauricien, and it's like militant, and I was part of them. So I used to always make sure, you know, we get people to vote. And in Mauritius with election, you know there's an election, because people will get on their box in the corner of the street and talk, and we will all go and listen, you know, and it's like that, you know, and it's fun. And they don't knock on your door, they just come in the corner of your street, and you go and they talk to you, you know, and they do a speech, and then we start calling questions and things like that.
When was the last time you were back?
Oh gosh, 13 years ago. Unfortunately, yeah, my mum passed away, so I couldn't go for her funeral because she dropped dead, and she got buried straight away. So I went afterwards, see my family.
And are you in contact with anybody? Or
yeah, my sisters.
And how are they? And how are they alive?
Yeah, they are married. They all got their own lives. I've got nieces and nephews, and great nieces and great nephews. But they get on with their life. To tell you, Michael, since my parents passed away, Mauritius is not my home anymore. This is my home, because I've lived here longer than I lived in Mauritius. 31 years here, 24 years in Mauritius. So this is my home. I've got everything here. I've got friends. I mean, I've made life. I mean, I became a councillor here to fight for the people, trade union and everything else. So yeah, and I'm got NHS in my blood through and through. So you know, it's this is my home.
Waida Forman, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.